All right. Welcome back, guys and gals, to another bitchin' and bassin' tip video. And today we are going to be talking about the pre-spawn. But before we do that, I just want to shout out happy 420 to all my weed smokers. Be safe, be responsible, and have fun today. Um, but yeah, let's get started, guys. Like I said, it is in the Western PA area, pre-spawn for us. We're coming up on the spawn pretty quick. It's mid-April. So, we had to warm up and then it cooled down. Now the water's finally slowly starting to warm back up. So the fish can definitely, or the fishing can definitely get a little finicky here, but you can also have one of the best days you've ever had during the pre-spawn. So, which is, I mean, that could happen anytime, but like I said, the pre-spawn is one of the best times to get on a big old sloppy bass. So let's get right into it, guys. I just lost my thought there. But yeah, let's get into the baits, guys. And first things first, one of my favorite baits to throw right now, obviously, is going to be a crankbait. This is a Rapala DT10. I like to stick with Rapalas as like the main choice for my crankbaits, and I'll expand from there just because they've been around. And ask anybody, guys, the Rapalas work, especially the DT series, which means dives too. So this is a DT10. It's going to dive 10 feet. But even though they're not, I know the rage this year is the flat-sided crankbait, and Rapala even came out with one, the Odds Garage Slim, which is killer. But Rapala's already had a very tight wiggle. I mean, this isn't a flat crankbait, but it does kind of have a flatter profile to it. So these things have always killed. I mean, they really work year round for me, but in the fall and in this pre-spawn is when they really shine. And I always like to go, obviously, with a craw pattern. If it's really dirty, we got that chartreuse craw, but that's that flat one. It just has a little tighter of a wiggle. But I'm always going to start probably with something like this, like a DT10 or maybe a shad wrap. I like to start in that 10 to 15 range and work my way shallower. And I'm just looking for hard bottom, looking for rocks, wood, anything like that, guys, that kind of find a fish. So, and it's, you can work them quick, you can reel them slow. I mean, Rapala brown, they just work. I don't really need to get too deep into that. So if you are not throwing crankbaits right now, you need to throw crankbaits. You need to come to terms with you're gonna lose some crankbaits, but trust me, it's worth it for the fish you could catch. So cranking is one of my favorite ways to catch them. So I'm always gonna have a crankbait. I might have 2 crankbait rods in the boat. So another thing I really like to use that I don't see too many people use just yet. I see it a lot in the fall, but I don't see it as much in the pre-spawn, so I use it a lot. And guys, that is a wobble head, or what else do they call it? Basically a swing head jig, a rugby jig. It's just a weighted football head, basically, with a swinging hook on the back. And I like this because, as you can see here, I like to put it on a big old rod because I like to use a heavier weight. I can't get it hooked in there. I like using a heavier weight, a creature bait, which I have a little biffle bug on here, which is one of the best. That tail just gets them going crazy. Talking about, I might as well show y'all. As you can see, that tail gets them going crazy. But the reason why I like a rugby head is because it's a bottom bait, and it's a bottom bait that you can use really effectively as a search bait. You guys can actually slow crank this on the bottom. You can work it like a Texas rig. I like to slow crank it, kind of get a feel for the bottom area. I might throw this first and then throw a crankbait, or vice versa. But like I said, I like to get a big rod and a heavy weight because it just allows you to freaking sling it way out there, and you can cover a lot of ground quick. Worms work good. Worms work good. Can't talk right now, but worms work really good. But I'm almost always going to start out with a creature. Sometimes a craw, those flaps get going. But again, like I said, you don't have to crank it. You can work it slow if that's where the bite's at. But definitely try out a wobble head, a rugby, a swing head, whatever you call it. It's a really good bait to fish right now. I know, I mean, everyone's gonna fish a jig, and I always have a Texas rig in the boat, but that's just something different, especially because you can usually throw it a lot farther. And as long as you have a heavy setup and heavy line, a lot of times that the bite comes with a whole lot of line out. So you definitely want to have a heavy rod so you can make sure you get that fish, because it could be a giant. Next, one of my favorite baits to throw. I know a lot of people kind of wait to throw the bluegill imitation baits till it's closer to the spawn, but in my opinion, just like a chatterbait, swim baits really excel in the pre-spawn, And the only really rule of thumb I have for this is I just look for grass. I know you could throw it other places, but mainly I'm targeting grass with this. So I'm gonna try to find any type of grass that has any life left. If not, I mean, we go to the next step down. Just, I mean, because obviously, guys, all the grass isn't gonna be there yet. But if you can find a good grass patch, or even grass that has some spotty holes in it that's not all the way grown in, this right here is the Savage Gear Pulse Tail Swim Bait. And it's got a nice meaty hook, and it's weedless. It sets up weedless, comes already ready to go. You can just tie it up and go with it. And guys, I like to, like I said, find that grass line, chuck that thing out there, and just slow reel it and wait for one of those. It gets the big girls really riled up during the season. The bigger fish are looking to feed up. I mean, smaller fish will eat it. It's a perfect little, I mean, in my palm of my hand, guys. And that little pulse tail, I mean, it looks so real, like it's nuts. But guys, definitely try that out. Or if you have any other bluegill imitations, like I said, find you a grass line and just slow crank it. I also like the Megabass mag draft right now. I like to throw the freestyle on a big old underspin, or even the one that comes pre-rigged with the treble hook already attached. Also on swim baits, a hollow body swim bait, like the big plastic hollow body soft swimmers, maybe with an open jig hook is how I like to swim them. But those 3 swim baits for me are and a lot of times you're gonna get better fish on those. So you might have to throw it a little bit more, but those fish are looking for a good meal, and when you come across one that'll eat it, like I said, it's almost always gonna be a better one. If not better, it's gonna be a fat one. Like it's also a real popular time to catch, you know, like 16-inch, 2.5, 3-pound fish, which is pretty nuts. But yeah, so swim bait, another one you want to have a nice big old rod, because especially if you're around grass or the fish just takes it and runs the opposite way, you want to be able to control him. So I'm definitely throwing at least 20-pound fluoro on that, and I got it on a 7.4 Mojo Bass swim bait rod, or it's a slop swim jig. To me, it's a swim bait rod from how I like the feel of it. Sorry, I can't talk today, guys. Trying to make this video quick. Next is an old school bait that a lot of young guys don't know about. I didn't know about it. A YouTuber by the name of Sobe actually put me onto it. And guys, that is a jig worm. I know it looks like a Ned head, but it's basically just a jig head. And a jig worm is basically just a worm on a jig head. And you just drag this on the bottom. Literally just drag it, hop it, and more importantly, that's a Guggenbaits Slim Shake right there. And I know a lot of guys like using it for shaky heads, Texas rig, but I can't get over how perfect of a worm that is for a freaking jig worm. So it's a very simple bait, guys. I have a weedless, it actually is a Z-Man jig worm, but they keep them right by the Ned heads. If you look, it just looks like a giant Ned head. So it's not really meant to stand on its head, even though it will at sometimes. But like I said, you basically just drag it along the bottom. And if you're really having a tough day to get a bite, a lot of people throw that on a spinning setup. I have it on my like kind of fluke and like Texas rig bait caster setup. But again, I know I'm all over the place. But that jig worm is a really good finesse option if they are really hugging the bottom. Like I said, drag it, dead stick it. That more than anything will most likely get you a bite. You throw that enough on any day of the year, you should be able to get a bite, because it's a good winter bait. It's also a really, really good heat of the summer bait that works in really good warm water. So, and last but not least, guys, another simple bait. I got it on a spinning setup here, and that is just a small open hook swim bait, especially for smallmouth or any fish relating to any type of rock. I do throw it around wood, but that is just it's a new VMC hybrid swim bait jig head. It's basically just a swim bait jig head with an eye, and it also has a screw lock. I really like these. I actually just got it. I didn't actually throw it that much yesterday, because I forgot I had it, but small swim baits work good all year round. So when the smallmouth get on that small swimmer bite, you can literally have 20, 30, 40, 50 fish days. So but like I said, that bait, I like to put it on a spinning rod just because it helps me cast it all the way out there. I'll usually let it sink pretty deep because, like I said, especially if I'm around rocks hold heat. Fish will really hug those rocks, and when they see that, also right now a lot of bait isn't that big, so when they see that thing swim by them rocks, you'll literally just feel weight and you can really just start reeling fast, and you a lot of times don't even have to hook set, especially with smallmouth because they're so vicious. A lot of times they hook themselves, especially with that open hook. So those are a couple baits, guys. I know there's a ton of other ones. I always am gonna throw a chatterbait, spinnerbait, jig. I'm a jig head, so I love having a jig tied on. I've already caught a couple good jig fish this year, but I just want to go over some baits. Like I said, fishing season opens, so the water is gonna be packed right away. So if you're just trying to fish heavily pressured waters or just get on a different bite, or if you're having trouble with the regular baits, I know the chatterbait, some days, last week I had a killer day on it. The very next day and day after it, I couldn't get a bite to save my life at the same lake. So it's definitely a weird time of year, but like I said, it's one of the best times of year to fish. I mean, it's the best time to fish anytime, in my opinion. But those are a handful of baits that you guys should give a try. Again, just another B&B tip video for y'all. Sorry, it's longer than I wanted it to be. I try to get through as quick as possible, but if you could, do me a favor, shoot over to YouTube, subscribe to the Bitchin' and Bassin' channel, help me get to 1,000 subs. I'm trying to grow the Western PA fishing content kind of bubble. I see a ton of from everywhere else. I'm trying to rep it for the Western PA area. So, all right, guys. Before I go, also on the whole Western PA fishing content area, there's 3 other YouTubers in this area that I know of that you should definitely check out. Number 1, Fishing PA with Ryan Reed. Check him out on YouTube. He is like a straight facts channel. If you want to learn anything about fishing in the Western PA area, he has a lake breakdown series. Like it's a really good channel. There's not too much BS on there, so that's a really good channel. Make sure you check out Fishing PA with Ryan Reed. Number 2 is Nathan Quince. I think I'm saying it right. Nathan Quince Fishing. He's a Pittsburgh native, and he's doing the whole tournament round. He's fishing the BFLs and the Bass Pro circuit, I think. He's trying to make it pro fishing. He fished in college, but that's another channel you guys need to check out. Let's make sure we go support Pittsburgh angler as he tries to make it, guys. He has a whole tournament series coming out following this year, so make sure you go over and check out Nathan Quince Fishing, subscribe to him. And last but not least, check out Hawk Fishing and Outdoors, or I'm sorry, Drew, I don't know why I forgot your YouTube channel, but that is an awesome fishing channel. One of my buddies, Drew, he fishes and he's straight to it. There's no BS on his channel, guys. He literally is just going to show you what he's fishing and what he's catching. He's been killing it this year, so make sure you also go over and check out Hawk Fishing and Outdoors, or I know it's Hawk Fishing. If you do that, put in Lake Arthur, you should be able to see his videos. But yeah, guys, make sure you go check out those 3 content creators, and while you're at it, subscribe to Bitchin' and Bassin', and let's grow the Western PA bass fishing content arena, I guess, and help more people catch fish, guys. All right, y'all, enjoy. Hopefully you guys get out there and catch a pig. Bitchin' and Bassin'.